Carolyn Dube here. Today I am playing with an inspiration deck created by Kyla Givehand. This is 52 cards of different ideas of things you can add into art journal, however you want to use them. Now this is a deck of 52 fun cards, and when I have a deck of cards, it just makes me want to shuffle them. Not that you have to shuffle them, but for some reason if I'm holding a deck of cards, I just have to shuffle them. And as you can tell here, I was never a dealer in Vegas or anywhere else. I am a clumsy shuffler, but you know what? It's not going to matter. Well, I decided to use the deck of cards to help get me unstuck. I have this canvas here that I've been horsing around and playing with, and I'm at a point where I'm just stuck. Nothing else has happened with it, and so I am going to turn to the cards to get me moving on this again. I am going to randomly pick any card that I want. If you want to take one from the top, awesome. I tend to like to grab from somewhere in the middle. And this one is telling me to add numbers to my art. So I'm going to have to go find some numbers. I found some big number rubber stamps that I have. And so now what I'm going to do is get out my high flow golden paints. And these are just like an ink and a paint all in one. That is just freezer paper I'm using for the palette, smushing the stamp in there. And then when I stamp it, I can get a very bright, vibrant color, which I wouldn't get if I was using just a regular dye ink pad. And here's where I have an oops, an outstanding opportunity that presented suddenly. I don't like how that orange looks with these colors. I like the stamp, but I don't like the orange. So this is an opportunity for me to change the color of that orange by adding some yellow high flow paint to it. Then I can kind of mix those together. And I think that's going to give me a better color, or when I say better color, more of the color I was trying to get. And that seems to fit better with the colors that I have there. So this was not a mistake, it was just an oops. It's an opportunity for me to try something different. And you know what? I'm going to go back and fix the orange twos by stamping right on top of them. And all of a sudden, what was kind of not making me happy is now starting to fit. And I'm going to continue to randomly add numbers around, and I am going to try a different color. I wanted the green, but I'm going to add some yellow to it because I like how that looked when I added it to the orange. So that is how the oops helped me along when I didn't even realize that quote mistake would serve me later. And right off camera, I have a tray with some very, very wet, dripping, soaking paper towels. As soon as I finished with the stamp and the paint, I set it on those wet paper towels so that way they'll be really, really simple to clean up. Did not want to waste any of the paint that was still on the palette, so I just grabbed a brush and I'm sort of randomly filling it in. This is not about thinking, this is just about using it up so I don't waste any paint. When I looked at this, it just needed more blue. Wasn't going to think too hard about it, so I just put a quick edging of blue around this. And now I've got to let this all dry before I get my next card. All right, so I've got the deck out here. Of course, I pulled from the middle because I never seem to pull from the top. And what do I need to get this time? A piece of your recycled art. This jelly print that I'd run through my Sizzix machine for another project was going to give me the perfect, just the right thing. I had this look in my head, this way it was all going to come together. And it didn't. It didn't work at all. But I didn't give up. I just paper punched it. Now I've got these circles. Now I know exactly how I want it to look. I have a plan. It's going to look great. And no. You can tell by how much I'm fiddling and messing and doing that kind of stuff that it is just not coming together for me. But in the end, I do end up using it. I get something that I really like, and I'm just going to glue it down with some gel medium. What I find interesting, though, is at this point, when I stop and look at it, all of a sudden the little bits of paper around my countertop start calling to me, and all of a sudden now it's those little bits and touches. So in the end, it worked out just fine. Along the way, I had to try a couple of things. Might even call those an oops or two. This canvas for me is starting to come together. I'm feeling playful with it. And most importantly, I have ideas of things I want to do to it. Stencils were calling to me, different colors were starting to call to me. I had some direction with this. When I started this at the beginning of the video, I had been stuck at that point for a very long time and had kind of ignored this canvas. And now the canvas is starting to make some progress. It's starting to have some layers added to it. As I've played with this deck of cards on things like art journal pages, on other canvases, I've noticed that some days I need 2 cards to get myself into a really creative place, and other days I need a lot more cards. So depending on my mood, depending on the day, determines how many cards I need to get things moving. And the stencils that you've seen me use on this canvas are from Stencil Girl products. Of course, you know I'll have links for you down below. I'm about to leave the studio, so I'm going to use up the last bits of paint that I've got here with just getting some marks and lines onto the canvas. Because of time and those adult responsibilities that aren't art related, I'm not going to have time to finish the canvas in this sitting. But you know what? I don't have to do it all at once. I can come back to it and add more to it later. And down below on the YouTube video or on my blog post, I have links so that you can find out more about Kyla's Mixed Media Inspiration deck. And if you've enjoyed this video, I would love it if you shared it. Every time this video is shared, it is like bribing my muse to get me back in the studio and creating more videos to share. Thanks for your support.